You can feel it, right? In our digital world, power is shifting. It's moving away from the places we used to look for it, from capitals and parliaments. Instead, it's consolidating in ways we're only just beginning to understand. Today, we are going to unmask the hidden engine behind this massive change.
So, picture this. It's October 2025, and a single company, NVIDIA, hits a market valuation of $5 trillion. I mean, that number is so vast it's almost impossible to wrap your head around. But this isn't just a number to be celebrated on Wall Street. Oh no. This should be seen as a warning shot. Because what we're looking at isn't just a story about a successful company. It's the story of a concentration of power so immense that it now competes with, and in some cases flat out exceeds, the power of nation-states. This challenges the very idea of democratic governance as we know it.
We're talking about a new kind of sovereignty. And to really get it, we have to look past the flashy stock tickers and the breathless headlines. We need to investigate the hidden legal architecture that makes all this power possible.
See, here's the problem. The laws we usually rely on to keep corporate power in check, things like the Sherman Antitrust Act, well, that was written in 1890. It was designed for a world of railroads and oil barons, not for an economy built on data and algorithms.
And that means our two main lines of defense are failing us. Antitrust law can't even seem to define what a market is anymore. Just look at the largely unsuccessful case against Google. And campaign finance reform? That used to be a key guardrail for democracy, but it's been systematically torn down by court decisions, unleashing a tidal wave of corporate cash into our politics.
All these failures, they point to a much deeper issue. It feels like we've been fighting the symptoms while the real source of this power has been hiding in plain sight, right behind a legal mask. Just think about the sheer scale of the problem. After the Supreme Court's Citizens United decision, the 2024 election was flooded with over $1 billion in so-called dark money, untraceable funds from corporations. And when you look at this chart, the result is crystal clear. The voice of the average citizen is just completely drowned out.
The Brennan Center for Justice put it perfectly. This has fundamentally changed the nature of our democracy. We've gone from a system that was supposed to be one person, one vote, to one where corporations can, for all intents and purposes, buy the political outcomes they want.
So, if our traditional tools are broken, what are we missing? What's the master key that unlocks this new, almost untouchable form of corporate power?
The answer is a concept we call personhood manipulation. It's all about the strategic use of an entity's legal status, its visibility under the law. It's about becoming visible when you want to claim the rights of a person, and then becoming invisible when it's time to face the responsibilities.
You know, this whole idea of personhood actually started out pretty innocently. In Roman law, a persona was literally a mask, a tool that let someone act in the legal system. This eventually became corporate personhood, a really useful legal fiction that let businesses do things like sign contracts. But now, in our modern era, that fiction has been twisted into a weapon, allowing corporations to claim fundamental human rights for themselves.
And this creates the two faces of this manipulation. On one side, the corporation puts on the mask of personhood to become visible, claiming rights like free speech so it can spend unlimited money in elections. But then, on the other side, it takes that mask right off to become invisible, using offshore havens to dodge taxes and complex legal structures to escape accountability.
So, how does this actually work in the real world? Let's dig into our first case study, NVIDIA.
Okay, so NVIDIA doesn't just compete in the market for AI chips. For all practical purposes, it is the market. With over 90% control of the advanced GPUs that power our entire AI infrastructure, its dominance is almost total. This isn't your grandfather's monopoly.
This is a totally new form of power we call infrastructural sovereignty. NVIDIA controls the very foundation, the essential plumbing of our 21st century digital world.
And that gives it incredible leverage. As one analyst pointed out, nations are basically trapped. They can't regulate NVIDIA without essentially crippling their own technological future. That is power that goes way beyond borders and democratic oversight.
But this manipulation of legal visibility, it doesn't stop at infrastructure. It goes all the way into governance itself. Our second case study reveals how a private state is being built, architected by the network that grew out of PayPal.
The early founders and employees of PayPal, you've probably heard them called the PayPal Mafia, have used their incredible wealth to build this interconnected web of companies that are actively reshaping our society.
You have Elon Musk controlling access to space with SpaceX and public conversation with X. You have Peter Thiel's surveillance empire with Palantir. They all share a common goal: to build a network of power that exists completely outside of democratic control. I mean, Musk alone threw at least $277 million into the 2024 elections.
And the result is the creation of what is essentially a private state. It's a parallel system of governance, where decisions that affect millions of us are made by a tiny, unelected group that's accountable to absolutely no one but themselves. This is the ultimate expression of weaponized personhood.
So when you put these two case studies side by side, NVIDIA's infrastructural power and the private state being built by the PayPal network, you start to see this systemic imbalance at the heart of our modern world. And we call it the execution gap.
Here's the core imbalance, plain and simple. Corporations have successfully argued for all the rights of a person, but they've systematically engineered ways to shed all the responsibilities. This gap, this chasm between claimed rights and dodged duties, that's where our democracy is failing.
And you won't find a clearer example of this than taxes. The official U.S. corporate tax rate is 21%. But the major tech companies, the very ones building this new world, they pay a median effective rate of just 14.2%. They just become invisible to the taxman, reaping all the benefits of a stable society without paying their fair share to keep it running.
And this all brings us to the fundamental choice we now face. The traditional tools we have, antitrust, campaign finance reform, they're just not enough. Why? Because they don't get to the root of the problem, this core manipulation of personhood.
So the central question for our time is this: will democracy itself become just another mask for corporations to wear? A hollowed-out ritual that we all perform while the real power gets wielded somewhere else, in private, behind closed doors. Re-anchoring rights to responsibility, that is the great challenge of our era. The very first step is to see the problem clearly for what it is. The choice and the fight to reclaim our democracy, well, that's ours. To learn more, visit theexecutiongap.org.